content trigger warnings kill storytelling and suspension, and there are so many people who feel the same exact way out there that whenever you load up a game or you start watching a movie and one pops up on the screen, you kind of cringe a little bit over it. And now we're seeing the warnings for Silent Hill F getting absolutely destroyed by gamers and several other games that it's compared to where those titles do not spoil the game that much. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I completely understand there being warnings when it comes to like bright flashing lights because people do, yes, have seizures. And I do understand that when it comes to things like that are medically based, they're important to put at the beginning of your game because obviously companies don't want to be sued and theaters don't want to be sued and these movie companies don't want to have to dish out money over a lawsuit. But when it comes to the actual content, right, whether it is sexual themes or it is violence, the reason why the ESRB exists is so something is properly rated. You get a T for teen or an M for mature. And when you buy a game and you see that warning, or even before you buy it, you can go to the ESRB webpage and you can kind of get that content disclaimer. But now, when you just simply click on Steam, we are seeing much longer and kind of drawn out and detailed warnings. Now, yes, you could just simply click, I don't want to see this, or I'm not interested in this, and avert thine eyes, but it's still there, clear as day for you to see, and it's still giving you a ton of spoilers. And while, yes, there are some sensitive snowflakes out there, we're definitely pushing for more of these to be even more prominent. It comes down to a point where if you need a trigger warning, you probably are not the target audience for a psychological horror thriller game. If you're not comfortable with seeing violence or gore, if you're not comfortable with seeing these adult themes and these M4 mature themes in an M-rated title, you aren't going to buy this game anyway. And we have the Silent Hill F disclaimer that has been put out there because the page is finally up on Steam and this game sounds really cool. I am one of the many people who is pretty excited for it. I will be playing it at release. I hope that it ends up being a fantastic experience, but oh my gosh, just looking at what they've written here is kind of mind-boggling because it's just so many spoilers. So alert here, if you don't want to know anything about this game, I also would recommend you steer clear of this, but it says, the game contains depictions of gender discrimination. Ah, yes, guys, in a game with blood and violence and gore, gender discrimination is the first most important thing to list here. Child abuse, bullying, drug-induced hallucinations, torture, and graphic violence. The game is set in Japan in the 1960s and contains depictions based on the customs and cultures of that time. So, yes, if there is any content you deem too offensive when you're playing this game, just know it's based on the customs and the culture of that time. And to boot, these depictions do not reflect the opinions or values of the developers or any individuals involved. This is always such a funny little addition to me because if people want to complain about this content, they don't care if you say it reflects or does not reflect the opinions or values of the developers. They're still going to try to cancel you. They're still going to be upset that you would dare to even animate this content, that you would dare to write this content and put it in the game. So you're still an ist or a phobe and you're just a terrible person to these people. So they're going to complain no matter what, and they're still going to cancel you if they're offended by this content. So saying it doesn't reflect the opinions or values should really be a given that you do not have to specify qualify. It's like if I write about slavery, do you think I condone slavery? Absolutely not. If I write about torture, do you think I condone torture? Absolutely not. But even if we compare it to the Silent Hill 2 remake, it's a vastly different picture. This game may contain content not appropriate for all ages, or may not be appropriate for viewing at work, frequent violence or gore, general mature content. See, even that is significantly better just because it's not giving you a ton of spoilers. It's not giving you a lot of specifics. And a lot of actors over the past couple of years have been very vocal with their distaste when it comes to trigger warnings. I mean, Ralph Fiennes had said theater trigger warnings are ridiculous and you should be disturbed, which I totally agree with. Sometimes a part of storytelling is the shock value and the suspense. And when you are purchasing a ticket or you're buying a copy of a game and you see that it's M for mature and you've done a little bit of research on the product that you're purchasing, like if you've watched a teaser or trailer, you know what it's going to contain, that it's going to have mature themes. So why do you need all of these kind of spoilers? You also even have Ian McKellen, absolute Chad, sparking debate over trigger warnings in theaters. It really did not spark any debate. It was just him giving his opinion, and even he had said that it is completely ludicrous. I quite like to be surprised by loud noises and outrageous behavior on stage, which, yeah, I think a lot of people do generally agree with. Again, it just really does ruin a lot of the storytelling, and people are also bringing up Chrono Trigger. Now, when it comes to Chrono Trigger, on Steam, there has been this warning in place for years at this point. It's not new, but a lot of people are talking about it. Chrono Trigger on Steam now has an age restriction, Scratchpoint said in September of 2023. It's unclear why or when this change occurred, but there was a recent update patch that addressed some minor bugs. The game is only rated E10 and up, so it's a bit nonsensical, and it, yeah, just says, you know, you have to enter your birth date to continue, and it may contain content not appropriate for all ages or may not be appropriate for viewing at work. So I think that that was just kind of slapped on there years ago for the like fantasy violence and mild blood, but you shouldn't have like an age restriction on it. Though when it comes to the Silent Hill topic, a lot of people are kind of roasting Konami and also Valve. We used to be a proper society where games would be games. Now we have a bunch of retards and fake gamers who cry at anything they don't like. Silent Hill F literally spoils aspects of the game. Now those things don't come as a surprise. Yeah, think I'll pass. Did they receive any kind of backlash from Silent Hill 2 for not having that disclaimer? If not, then the change is kind of baffling. I personally do not remember there being any outrage over the fact that they didn't have some like really long disclaimer. Maybe it's because Steam is having an issue with like the ESRB and getting games rated. Maybe it could be because of the ESRB just alone, and they're trying to force more platforms to add different ratings. I mean, we don't really know, but it does just seem like virtue signaling. Nope, not going to buy now. What if this is all a marketing move? And it definitely could be, but Silent Hill is a very big name, and Silent Hill 2 Remake did pretty good for them, so I don't really think that they need this like extra marketing. I feel like they're just virtue signaling, and they're trying to look like they are good people behind the scenes and that they actually care about protecting their audiences, even though they're not your audiences because they wouldn't buy this game because they're so bothered by themes that are in it. If you need a trigger warning, you probably do not like suspenseful storytelling, therefore a game like Silent Hill is not for you. So I will be keeping my eye on this situation to see if they make any statements or if anything changes anytime soon, but I am one of the many people who believes that trigger warnings destroy suspense and storytelling, and a lot of people are upset by this and completely agree. But that's all that I really have to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.